If you know me, you know I love using different types of weapons in Fallout 76. Recently, I've been trying out so many different types of weapon categories, and let me just say, the shotgun category, pretty damn disappointing, especially when you think of how solid shotguns were in older Fallout games. Looking at you, Fallout 3, missed that terrible shotgun, but there are a few hidden gems, and today we're diving into what I consider the best stealth shotgun in Fallout 76. Funny enough, yeah, it sounds weird, but stick with me because this thing is actually a blast to use. That's right, we're talking about the Kabloom, the psychedelic stealthy shotgun beast. The Kabloom made its debut in Fallout 76 with the Once in a Blue Moon update back in 2023, and there are two main ways to get your hands on this legendary. The first way is simple trading. Check out player vendors or ask around. You might get lucky and score one from a random player, but if you want a more direct route, just complete the Safe and Sound event. It pops up pretty often, nuts, and once you complete it, you've gotten a decent chance of getting the Kabloom. I don't know the drop chance off the top of my head, unfortunately, but I would have to think it's at least 20%. And if you don't get it right away, just ask other players at the event. Someone's bound to drop one for you. I've had people literally just drop one on the ground for just not needing it back when there was no point for keeping not the best legendary weapons in Fallout 76. So yeah, someone just may drop it for you, and if not, just ask people. You may get a decent trade out of one. You may be able to trade a couple caps or something like that. They're not very hard to come by, and then obviously just check player vendors if you're really like desperate for it, which I don't know why you would be, but nonetheless, if you really want to get your hands on the shotgun, Safe and Sound is the best way to go. If not, just ask some high level players or just check player vendors for people that have a lot of weapons in them, and you may get lucky. Now, let's talk about what effects are on this beautiful shotgun. So the first star effect is anti-armor. If you know anti-armor, you know it has a little bit of a cult following in Fallout 76. Some people swear by it and think that it is the best effect in the entire game. I, however, think that it is one of the best effects in the game, but it constantly gets outshined. However, if you don't know anti-armor, each shot packs a 50% additional armor penetration, making it great for tougher enemies like super mutants. It's not the strongest effect, like I said, but it's old, reliable, and it's really helpful against those tougher armored mobs like the super mutants or grafted monsters or things like that. Snallygasters, it's really good for extremely high armor enemies, like I said. So it's old, reliable. It's really nice. It has a cult following. Some people swear by it and think that it is the best effect in the entire game. I think that, like I said, it is definitely one of the more useful. And in at the second legendary star effect, we have easily one of the best effects in the entire game, and that is explosive. Explosive rounds on a shotgun. Hell yeah, sign me up. It's a shitload of extra DPS, especially when you pair it with the explosive perk card. So again, it constantly helps. These effects that the gun have really help this gun shine, and you're able to build it in a bunch of different ways just to be able to maximize the DPS that you get out of it. The explosive effect gives this gun a really unique edge. And then the third effect is perfect for this weapon. It is rapid. It gives a nice little increase to your reload speed. And that's really nice for this weapon because you have to reload each shell individually. So like I said, making it super practical for this weapon. Honestly, I'd leave this effect on there no matter what. Like, even if you wanted to make a perfect one, I think that this probably is a god roll on this weapon, and I think that it should stay. It's just too good. And again, if you watch the Cold Shoulder video, you know that that gun had a lot of nice synergy with the quad and the freezing effect, and this one also has some really nice synergy with the explosive and the rapid reload effect. Just so then you literally could shoot, reload one shell, shoot, reload one shell, and you kind of could stun lock some enemies. It's really nice. And of course, if you want to change any of these effects, they are changeable. You could swap out that anti armor for something like bloodied if you wanted like to really maximize the amount of damage that you could get out of this thing, or if you wanted to run a strictly stealth shotgun build. So besides these legendary effects, what makes the Kabloom so special? Now, this weapon has a few quirks, like I said, that make it stand out. First, if you're familiar with this weapon at all, you know it's got a hidden unlisted effect, but if you look at the card, it says it does poison damage. That's right. Every shot applies 50 points of poison damage over 10 seconds, which is great for softening up those tougher enemies and letting the poison do the rest. So you shoot a super mutant once with it. If you don't get an instant kill, let the poison just take the care of the rest of the super mutant's health. It's really nice. So shoot once, walk away, kill another enemy, walk away, kill another enemy, and it just constantly will basically finish off all of your non one shots. Secondly, you could actually attach a suppressor to this weapon, which is why I'm mainly using it as a stealth shotgun in the gameplay footage. That's right, this is probably the only viable stealth shotgun in the entire game. Ever wanted to blast a ghoul's head off silently? Now you can. It's so much fun. I can't explain it. It reminds me of playing Payday 2 with the locomotive shotgun. If you know, you know. It's just so much fun, and it takes me back. It's really good, especially with the ragdoll effects of Fallout. And finally, let's talk about probably the most unique thing about this. That's right, the skin. It is so beautiful. It looks like someone took the mystery machine from Scooby Doo and turned it into a shotgun. The trippy 70 vibes makes it one of the coolest weapons in Fallout 76, in my opinion. And if you are a collector, I definitely would go after this gun for the look alone. I think it's one of the more appealing and definitely colorful guns in Fallout 76. So it has a hidden poison effect. You could attach a suppressor to it, and this thing has probably one of the more unique skins in the entire game. Three great reasons of why it makes such a special weapon. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the testing and how much damage this weapon can actually do. As you can see from the footage, the Kabloom does solid work against basic mobs. VATS accuracy isn't the best, well, because it's a shotgun. If you saw my cold shoulder video, then you know the VATS accuracy in shotguns, besides the Gauss shotgun, is just terrible because they nerfed the hell out of them. But it could one-shot weaker enemies like Scorched or Ghouls, and with the anti-armor and explosive, it could hold its own against super mutants too. Like I said earlier, for tougher targets, the damage over time effect that the poison does some serious nice work. You really will be able to hold your own against basically all mid tier enemies in the entire game, and then also a lower tier enemies like Scourged or Ghouls. It's really nice for a just like if you want to try out a stealth explosive build. This is probably the best way about it that I would go with. And then now for the bigger enemies like the Grafton Monster or Behemoths, you definitely can feel it start to fall off. Unfortunately, you'll need more power than what the stock Bloom offers. And as obviously, I just want to throw this out in all of the footage. I don't have a single shotgun perk on besides the one that offers what I think it's Scatter Shot, the one that offers better reload and then also less weight on the shotguns. Just because I needed a faster reload on this thing, it was killing me. This is completely stock. This is without any shotgun perks or anything. You can make a max damage build, and you probably will be able to do some decent damage against behemoths. But for a stock weapon, it starts to fall off. You'll definitely need more power. And then raid bosses, I would just leave this one out of the out of your your cycle if you're running a nuke event, because obviously you're not really gonna be able to stealth it to begin with. But if you're looking to tear into those tougher mobs, try something different. Try a cold shoulder, and if you want to just run around and have a decent time killing basic level mobs or running West Tech a different way, try out the Kabloom. It's fun. It'll give you a good laugh running through West Tech and having the ragdoll effect kick in on the super mutants, or running through the golf course and blasting the ghouls away. It is definitely a fun gun to use, and it's just so just again, it reminded me of Payday 2. I had to make a video about it because this is definitely one of the more fun weapons to use in Fallout 76. But obviously, it comes with some downsides, so let's talk about them. Yeah, and like I just said, there obviously are a couple of downsides with this weapon because it's Fallout 76. It's not all flowers, despite what the skin of this weapon may make you think. The main downside is its base damage. It's on the lower end, unfortunately, partially because it's a shotgun in Fallout 76, but even with the optimized legendary effects, it just doesn't reach the level of something like a Gauss shotgun or Cold Shoulder, and that's just weapons in the same category. It definitely doesn't compare to any other, like a Fixer or a Handmade or anything like that. Now, the recent poison buff definitely does help, but it's not quite enough to put the Kabloom in the spotlight. I was waiting to make this video until the poison update actually came out, and they buffed the damage of all poison damage that you can do. However, it wasn't quite enough to make this gun really anything more special than just being a novelty of a stealth shotgun that you could run around and blast ghouls in the head with without being seen. So yeah, it just really, the main downside is that it just doesn't have enough damage output stock to actually make it a completely viable weapon for tougher enemies or anything like that. It's still completely viable if you are going to run some basic mobs, or if you just want to play around in the Wasteland or do a couple events with it or anything like that. It's, however, not viable for raid bossing or anything like that, just because of the low damage output. However, I do have to say we were playing around on stream with this thing, and we were using it in my shotgun build, and it did definitely improve the damage. You just have to have kind of all of the damage perk cards to work in your favor, plus the explosive or the demolition expert perk card also to really maximize all of the damage out that you can get with this thing. But as you can see in the footage here, it really doesn't do too bad with just the stock of damage and everything like that without any perk cards helping it out. I did mod it a little bit. Obviously, I put the suppressor and a different stock on it, but it is the no perk cards benefiting me besides the reload one. But it obviously just it doesn't do enough damage to make it like really that great or anything, because a stock fixer can significantly output more damage, or a stock cold shoulder could obviously output significantly more damage. All in though, despite the low amount of DPS, I would still recommend the Kabloom. It's so much fun to use. It's different and it breaks away from the usual top tier choices. Even in the shotgun category, it's a completely usable weapon with or without stealth. It looks incredible and it's not hard to get at all. If you're into shotguns or at least have a stealth build, definitely give this thing a try. And if you're not into either, well, you could probably skip over this thing like you have for the past year and a half anyway. But regardless of that, if you want to try something new, or if you just want to fuck around and have a fun time trying out a new build or something like that, grab yourself a Kabloom, grab some stealth points, put a suppressor on it, grab some shotgun cards, and go ahead and have a great time. Really, I do recommend it. You will struggle against like tougher enemies like Scorch Beast or something like that, but against most other mobs, you'll do okay if you do have a damage boosting attribute. Really, like I said, the video is stock, so it's not the best damage in the entire world. I didn't want to I just wanted to show this gun as someone that would, if that's a low level, would play around with it or something like that. So it is usable as a low level, and it definitely can help you run West Tech a few times if you have a stealth build. It can output some damage, and it really will be helpful to you. So if you're like a level 50, and if you get your hands on this gun, if you don't have a fixer, and if you don't have literally anything else, you know that you could at least make a stealth build, and you could go ahead and one shot or two shot super mutants with a suppressed shotgun, and you would be able to make your way through West Tech to grind out a couple of levels. So I would recommend this thing. At least put it on the mantle and, you know, above your fireplace next to the cold shoulder. It's one of the core looker guns in the game, and it's a stealth shotgun. Try it out. You won't be disappointed. And well, you won't be too disappointed, I guess you should say. And there you have it, folks. In my opinion, the only viable stealth shotgun in Fallout 76. If you didn't know about this beauty, now you do. Congrats, because you've got a reason to try a stealth shotgun build. And like I said, it just reminds me of Payday 2 so much. Just hitting one of the ghouls in the head with this thing and seeing them ragdoll reminds me of doing the bank heist in Payday 2 with a suppressed locomotive and just completely obliterating the cops and answering the pagers. It is so fun, and it reminds me of that without a doubt. I don't know if it was a nod to it. I obviously don't think it is, but it even looks like the locomotive from Payday 2. It's just, if you know, you know. Let me know in the comments if you ever played Payday 2 and fucked around with a locomotive in stealth. It's probably the only, like I said, it's probably the only explosive poison shotgun in Fallout history. It's a pretty niche weapon, but in my opinion, it fills the niche really well. It's a great like explosive weapon, which is so funny, and it has a beautiful 70s aesthetic. I'm definitely a huge fan. So if you want to mess around with something different for a few play sessions, try out a stealth shotgunner build. You won't regret it. It's a hell of a lot of fun to use. And as always, I appreciate you motherfuckers for stopping by and watching this motherfucking video. And as always, I will see you in the Wasteland. I appreciate you all. Until next time, have a great day. Try out the Kabloom and let me know what you think in the comments.